The traditional protests for Workers' Day this year focused on miners who lost their lives during the work and low salaries for the women of the dressmaking industry, but with very few attendees as most citizens instead chose to enjoy a coffee at the lake park. Interior Minister Fatmir Jafai has announced concrete results will be delivered in the fight against criminal organisations, mentioning that police vetting will only provide positive results in establishing justice. Environment Minister Klosi has requested support for the Clean Up Albania project while declaring the verification of land ownership titles is extremely important for the development of tourism. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Tuesday the 1st of May 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the countries translated into English. On the Day of the Workers, the youth of the political organisation protested in front of the Ministry of Energy and in the Kombinat area. They say that in just 5 years, 42 miners have lost their lives while performing their employment duties, mostly as a result of the lack of infrastructure. 42 miners have died due to the lack of security and poor infrastructure, said one of the protesters. In the Kombinati area, where some dressmaking businesses have been concentrated, young activists said that this sector is among the most difficult. We are protesting against the low salaries in the dressmaking sector, said one of the activists. The protest was explained to express the demands of greater dignity, security and pay for their line of work. However, the protest saw only a few people in attendance today. On the occasion of International Workers' Day, trade unions have called on the government to provide decent jobs with decent salaries to its citizens. The head of the Confederation of Trade Unions, called Nikolai, stressed that in Albania workplaces are unsafe because of political pressures. We appeal for decent wages and work. We have the lowest wages in Europe. The legal minimum wage does not allow someone to provide the basic necessities. All those working in administration are also subject to the psychological pressure of the workplace, said Kol Nikolai. At the trade unions protest today, an act which has become somewhat of a tradition in our country, this year only a few citizens actually participated. Only miners and oilmen were present, who have continued to urge the government to keep its promises for the employees of these two sectors which are so important for the economy. Only a powerful strike can put the government under pressure to adopt the status of a miner, said a protester. Unlike what happens in other parts of the world, where on the 1st of May workers gather in protest to claim their rights, in Albania this date has passed as simply a day off, where citizens chose instead to fill the coffee bars even more than usual. In Korcha, where the Civic Forum for Public Safety was held, Interior Minister Fatmir Jafai stressed that soon the task force will be hitting the criminal groups that operate all over the country. At the meeting with the residents, he stressed the necessity of cooperating between police and citizens, practices that, according to him, are common in EU countries. Organised crime affects national security, property and life, affects and hampers economic development, the social life of society and the image of the country. We are strongly committed. We have undertaken a very concrete operation, the Force of Law operation. We have identified the criminal groups operating within and outside the country's territory. We have hit a part of them. We have a series of important investigations with the task forces in cooperation with the prosecution to hit some more of these criminal groups very soon, said Fatmir Jafai. Regarding the vetting process among order forces, the minister said that there is an overwhelming majority of uncorrupt, honest police officers among the state police. According to him, if law enforcement agencies are honest, the results will be concrete. This is exactly what will lead to the high expectations which will be followed by the proper punishment of all officials who have abused their power, or as some may call them, the big fish. There must be a net cast in order to catch the big fish, and the police, the prosecution and the courts are the ones that form that net. Without these three, it is not possible, because if one of them does not work, the entire system does not work, said Fatmir Jafai. A few weeks have passed since the vetting process started to deliver the first results with the dismissal of judges, and the number that have resigned from the justice system continues to increase. So far, judges are the ones who have been resigning in the highest numbers and therefore halting their careers, while the number of prosecutors who have chosen to leave of their own accord without facing vetting remains minimal. So far, 7 judges have left the system at their own will, including the former Chief Prosecutor, Adriatic Lala, who at the end of his mandate was a candidate for a judge in the Court of Appeal. Prior to this, only the prosecutor of Kruya, Sulejman Tola, had resigned, and this was only after having reached the retirement age. On the other hand, judges also hold the highest number of dismissals, especially regarding decisions made by the Independent Qualification Commission so far. So far, of the 3 terminations the Commission has sought, 2 were judges and 1 a prosecutor. But the resignation of judges is still ongoing, even as the process of verifying their wealth has begun. 2 days ago, citing health problems, 2 judges, Brunilda Kasmi of the Tirana Court and Merita Jani of Durrës, submitted their resignations. At the same time, the Justice Minister requested the dismissal of a further 4 judges during a meeting of the High Council of Justice. According to the Constitution, all those who choose to leave cannot return to positions within the justice system for a period of at least 15 years. Despite the wonderful beach and being close to the capital, the highway and the airport, the areas of Spille and Vile Bastova still do not have the proper touristic development to host thousands of tourists. According to the Minister of Tourism and Environment, Klosi, property title issues have become an obstacle. During the cleaning at the Spille beach, Klosi stated that verifications of the violations that have occurred during these years are being made. We are in the phase of verifying the violations that have occurred throughout these years with the land on the coast. It is unforgivable that this area still does not have real tourist development. There are no real hotels to welcome the thousands of tourists. There are no businesses to support this type of tourism. The whole situation really arises from the problems with owning the land, explained Klosi. Together with the mayor, we contacted the local businesses and emphasised the decision of the Albanian government that no one will be allowed to conduct activities in the tourist season if there is no final solution to the sewerage problem, said Klosi. Further, Klosi said the areas with a great potential should be turned into tourist magnets, which not only generate tourism but also contribute to the economy, well-being and employment for the residents of the area. The head of Tourism and Environment repeated the appeal to businesses to offer a definitive solution to sewerage, or else nobody will be allowed to conduct activities during the tourist season. Tirana is having difficulty in getting the greening up of building terraces off the ground, despite the initiatives, incentives and ideas on how to green the roofs being offered by the City Hall and from the University of Architecture. While initiatives taken by private buildings are so far not so numerous, some buildings in the area of Zoguizi and Elbasan Road now offer mini vertical parks on their terraces, which can be seen from other buildings in the neighbourhood. The municipality of Tirana launched this challenge as a very innovative project that has been realised in only very few developed countries of the world. The initiative of greening up the terraces works by cooperating with the public institutions and with the community. We will work with public institutions and the community for this project, said the Director of Environment for the Municipality of Tirana, Diana Mile. Mile thanks the administration's election will ease this process. There are private initiatives, but this will work best with the help of building administrators, said Diana Mile. The green terrace is not just an aesthetic element. Studies show that it also helps to create a habitat for animals and birds, reduces urban air temperatures, mitigates the greenhouse effect, and reduces the presence of water in cases of rain. Through the initiative is somewhat a novelty for Tirana. Around the world, there are environmental movements that encourage cities to plant more trees and plan more green spaces, especially parks. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.